Hi, it's Karen. I just wanted to check in and I have another video that's come out and you might be asking yourself why all these videos at once. Well, I'm releasing them for a number of different reasons. It's that my songs haven't had videos and they barely go noticed. So, yeah, sorry, I get my art here. You can see ocean wave there. Anyway, yeah, so I thought to myself, while I can get into some editing programs and I have a bit of extra time, I can release my own video. So I bought into that package with my distributor a number of weeks ago, and then I started, oh gosh, now I have to release videos. So I decided to do it, and then I didn't want to do it, and then I thought, yeah, do it. So now I'm back to editing, video editing, which sometimes it can be painstaking and takes a lot of time. And there are a lot of different programs out there. So I'm just trying to be more, how do you say it? Still come across with the professional product, but also test different programs out to see what I want to put out there. And I storyboarded I did embrace the night because it came to me as somewhat of an animated sequence. But I've lived through all of these experiences, but I don't always have a camera on me and I don't always like being on camera. So, yeah, I've been to a number of castles. I went to Ireland quite a few years ago and I did a church and castle tour. And I also, when I was in the Emirates, I went to the Palace Hotel and I went on the balcony in my long gown. It is very eloquent, so maybe that kind of, as a memory, came back. And I also, my origins go back to on my father's side, go back to 1157. And I know there were my ancestors that they did live in castles, and some of them were considered, they were considered as the royal families of the day. Maybe they were aristocrats. That didn't work out in my life so much, but that's okay. I'm thankful for everything that I have. And anyway, yeah, so I wanted to touch a bit on my ancestry, and I thought it would be very elegant if I was singing in a gown in a castle like setting. So I set up the storyboards based on my image, which is my image. It's photography, and the storyboards are artistic, so they can be done on a digital pad. Now we have AI, it makes the process a heck of a lot faster. So it depends on what you want to do. And I just finished editing this morning. That was a bit painstaking also for another video that's to come, but it hasn't been approved yet. And it's using human beings, and I'm only at the beginning of the video because I think sometimes people get bored seeing that particular artist in a full video, and sometimes it's good. Like there are other artists, like Reba McEntire. One time, she did she just did a cameo in her video, and she based it on real life people, and she put real life people in the clips, and she was only in there for like 3 seconds. So there you go. Like, you can do anything as an artist. There are really no boundaries. And I wrote a song recently that was inspired by Prince, because I think about him a lot and what he said over the years. And you can go back and watch a lot of his interviews where Prince talks about artistic integrity and artistic control. And, he was against contracts. And for so many people, the biggest thing was to get a music contract, but they don't know what's entailed. Like, there's a lot of legal language that is purposely set up for artists not to understand. And artists, so many of them have gotten fleeced out of their earnings out of that. So, he made sure he knew the business, and he went and he set up agreements with them, and he got his way most of the time because, he wouldn't, and they had to take the chance of doing that too. So the more, like, I'm thankful to Prince for all what he went through and what he stood for. And in the end, he really tried to be an independent. And that, I give him so much respect for that, because that influenced so much of my work. So I wrote a song I had it released last evening. It's called Los Angelique, and it's about my experiences in Los Angeles. And I went to music conventions. I also went to like a lot of music parties, that sort of thing, to try to network. And I found, that wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted in my life at that time. And I remember standing out in a balcony looking out at Capitol Records and saying, hey, in a sense, you really are living the dream. But I didn't get discovered as far as getting heavily invested into as a mainstream artist. There was a major label representative, they call it A&R, that was visiting. And as soon as some of the artists caught wind that there was an A&R person from a major label, they all got excited and were trying to find her. And she caught wind of that and she took off. And I think she just went and hid for a little while because she wanted to be incognito and just kind of watch the artists. And then if there was somebody worth signing or worth bringing into the fold, out of, there were 3,000 people there. So one might get selected or not at all. So that's the chances of it. So yeah, but I went just for the experience, and I did meet a lot of industry people when I was there. So it was cool. And I did get the chance to talk to some famous producers on the telephone. They interviewed me, and that was really cool. So then I thought to myself, I'm just going to stay independent. Like, I have no business moving down here. It's so expensive. And there, in recent years, a lot of people have left LA. And then there's people that ended up homeless. So that's really scary. And I thought the Canadian dollar only goes so far. So I really didn't want to take that risk. And so many other Canadians took that risk. They went over the border and they networked within their own industry, and it worked out for them. But today and in recent years, there was no possible way you could do that. You would have had to do that maybe in the 80s or perhaps into the 90s. And I was a student at that point. There's no way I could take the chance. So I went to the music cities. I went to Nashville. I went to LA predominantly. I went to those places just so I could kind of find out, like, but there's so many people that do that, and so many people end up going back home because it's really a tough thing to relocate to any city and try to make it there. So yeah, and because I'm in Hollywood North, it's not so bad. So if an opportunity did ever come up that was viable, then it'd be worth my time to stay in this city. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, I'm talking quite a bit again. So yeah, so this is kind of why I'm doing this, because I haven't done it for some time. It's been a few years. And what I did is I entered just so I could get feedback from the industry itself, from the movie industry. Is I submitted a lot of my music videos then to see what potential, to see what support I could get. And I I would get mentions and awards. But the thing was, is that yeah, it was a good experience. And then I couldn't, it's so expensive to keep up with. So now there are way more tools, and I see like a plethora of ads for AI. Do a music video, you can do, and a lot of people in the music industry just look at that as slop. So it has to be really professionally done. And because I have a bit of a background doing my own, then I'm going to keep doing my own. But it's not high budget. It's about as much as budget as it can possibly do. So I'm just going to keep doing that. People like it, great. People don't like it, then what are you going to do? So the thing is that yeah, I'm not going full tilt. I explained this in my previous video. It's more so for health reasons. Just like I've been at this a really long time, and I'm still putting music out there. So I've selected some of the music that are people's favorites over time that I could tell with the numbers, and I think, oh, okay. And there's one video that I had, it wasn't a video, it was like a song that I had, and it was up on Spotify. And somebody put it on their playlist, but wrongfully got way too many plays, and Spotify was very suspicious, and I had nothing to do with that. So they pulled the song completely, and I had to re upload my song, and that was very upsetting because there was quite a few views on that. So I thought, well, on that one, up and coming, I will do a video on it because it was really popular. So yeah, I have a lot of music out there that never gets the time of day. And yeah, sometimes those songs, they're definitely not hits. They're considered as B songs, but they could be very good songs. And some people, you know, they like the very same consistency in an artist, and I'm an artist. I don't have to have that consistency. There are a lot of other artists that have done extensive things. They One thing I never got into was using samples. I never believed in that. And then when I found out that Beck was forming a lot of their material with samples, that kind of irked me. But the thing is that he utilized them in an art form where it became its own entity, and the 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 samples were a reference. But I've never used samples in my work. I do all original stuff. I get that kind of download into my brain that a lot of musicians get. They call it the muse, and it kind of bites them, and they get it down if they're lucky. It's almost like a dream coming to you sometimes. It's hard to explain, and it's almost like an internal download, and you'll hear all the instrument parts and everything, and sometimes you can convey that and sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's just you're going into the unknown and you don't know what's going to come out. So when it comes to a composition, and I think we're all affected, and I believe that comes from the universe itself. I believe that there are strong frequencies that come into people's brains. Sometimes it can be when people are meditating, a lot of times that happens. And then when people are dreaming, sometimes too, a great song or great lyrics will come to them. Like, it comes to different artists and different experiences. So yeah, and so I'm trying to work on get more videos out for my songs because it just wasn't in my budget before, and I couldn't keep up with all of that. Like, and again, I've had to eliminate a lot of things out of my life, and I considered eliminating music completely because I've had a good run. And you know, yeah, I'm still going to keep doing it, that people enjoy it. I hope at one point I can either produce my own movie and sink my own music into it rather than begging, not begging, but having that lottery ticket, that one, in a million lottery ticket. But I think also the systems too. It's like a controlled system with the algorithm. So you may get only so many views, but the thing is they want so many views, and then that's it. That's a cutoff point, because it's those artists that are heavily invested into by the major labels. They're the ones that are going to get the 5 million to a billion views right from the get go. And I think it's the algorithms for those companies are intentionally set up that way. So if you're an independent artist, you're lucky if you get like 100,000, like 100,000 people listening to you if you're really, really lucky. So the thing is that, yeah, as an independent, you're not going to get much. And as a songwriter, it's even worse. Like, it's like, I don't even know. It's just peanuts. That's really what it comes down to. And that pisses a lot of musicians off because they're singer songwriters and they deserve to be part of the mainstream just as many other artists do. So, yeah. And also, too, if there's ever a holograph, when I'm off a planet, or there's a 20-year-old imitating me, and doing a cover of my work one day, even though I haven't ever had a hit, basically. But if they ever do discover me, like I discovered Karen Dalton, I thought, well, she was part of that coffee shop experience where she was an artist. And there are all of these other artists that work the coffee houses in New York, and they become really known. I'm thinking Peter Tork of the Monkees. Well, that's when he started off in the coffee house circuit as a musician, and that's where he was discovered. And then also, too, there are a lot of artists that yeah, they'll get picked up in a club or whatever. So, and some artists, they won't ever get discovered. So, I just do my thing. I'm an artist. I keep putting stuff out there, and if people enjoy it, that when people enjoy it, it really is a big compliment to what I'm doing. But it's really, sometimes I don't think it's worth the money at all because there's very little money involved in it. It's just a passion that I have. I like doing music. And yeah, not every artist gets to be a commercial success, but I really took a good listen to Prince and what Prince had to say. And he cooperated with the industry, but he made sure that he got his own way in agreements. He didn't want to do contracts, he didn't believe in contracts. And so most of the time, the majority of the time, he did get his way. And then he, before he passed tragically, he did have his own music set up. And I thought that was really cool. And he did what he wanted to do. And I thought that was wonderful. So, yeah, even like I'm not in the position to open a big music pavilion where I could host my own shows, but that could also be another artist's dream, because before it was like people are mentally, they think that they are going to be able to, once they sign a record contract or if they're part of a contract. Yeah, so the only one that I know of that's independent that was a major success because he has an excellent team is Joe Bonamassa. But the rest of us, yeah, we're lucky for whatever scraps we get. So I can't help but laugh because it's just laughable how things have turned on us. So, I keep putting my stuff out there and make sure I try to get it as quality as possible. So anyhow, yeah, I'm going on way too long. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.